succulent growers, it's Lynn here. I hope you're having a fantastic plant powered day. Now in today's video, it's a Sunday and no better way to spend a Sunday than doing plant jobs. And because it's December now and it's coming up to the very shortest day of the year, I thought I'd go into the Polytunnel and spend a bit of time doing a few December winter plant jobs. And I'll share this little vlog with you all. And the Polytunnel is looking pretty good, I have to say, for this time of year. All the slumbergeras are all blooming very beautiful, and I'll make another update video on them in the next few days, so do stay tuned for that. I mean, look at that, that's my slumbergera Thorland, absolutely beautiful. So lots of slumbergeras blooming. And I'll show you the tools I've got here in the Polytunnel that I'm going to be doing with the plant jobs today. First of all, I've got an empty bucket, so I'm going to be pruning back any dead stems I see and old flower heads and things like that. And I've also got a pair of tweezers because that's great for picking off any of the dead leaves, such as the succulents here. A lot of these have got dead crispy leaves that I need to remove, so it's a bit of a time-consuming job, but I'm going to show you in little steps in this video. I've got a little empty little bowl here with a little tiny brush, and that's because I use the rubbing alcohol, isopropyl alcohol. If I see any bugs, hopefully I won't, but you still see them even in the winter time. I can dab them off with a little brush. I've got a little brush and pan here because I'm going to be going around cleaning the floor. As you can see, lots of dead leaves have fell off onto the floor here in the Polytunnel, so I'm going to be brushing and panning, and I've got the broom as well for the floor. And I say pruning shears to cut off any little dead flower heads and things like that I see. So that's my little tools. And if you wonder what that humming noise is, I've got the heater on in here because it's blinking freezing, and it's not cold for the cacti and succulents, they like it cool, but I've put the heater on for myself here. And this is the BioGreen Phoenix that I use in the Polytunnel on the very cold nights. Absolutely brilliant electric heater, and we have it set at a thermostat where it kicks on if it drops below 41 Fahrenheit 5C. And we don't have to have that on very often. I tend to have it on in here when I'm working in here because it's cold, but we have the dehumidifier on a lot of the time. That gives off heat as well, keeps the air dry to about 45 to about 50% humidity, which is good because above that in a greenhouse and Polytunnel can create mould issues. So a little bit about that. And first of all, I'm going to start off by going around the plants. And obviously I'm not going to film the whole thing because it'd be an incredibly long video. I'm sure a lot of you at this time of year are very, very busy. So I'm just going to show you what I'm going to be doing and include that in this video. First of all, I'm going to go around the plants and check for anything that needs pruning off, such as this here. This is a Haworthia. These are old dead flower heads, so I can cut them off and check that there's no dead leaves. And also going to be pruning anything like this, for example, as I mentioned, dead flower heads, and then going around with the tweezers, removing the dead leaves off these succulents, as you can see here. And the reason why I remove the dead leaves is because if you leave them on, it can attract fungus and things like that, and also pests love to hide under dead leaves. So that's why it's important, as well as aesthetics. It looks much nicer when it's tidied up. So here we go. First of all, I'm going to be cutting off the dead flower heads. So sometimes you can pull them out from the actual base, and but if they're a bit tough, then I do cut them back. So this is easy enough just to remove here. And these here, these Echeverias, that's that. And putting them then into the little bucket. Again, the same with this one, that comes out itself. There you go. Now what I'm going to be doing now, I think that's all the dead flower heads that have been removed that I can see here, and lots of the beautiful flowers on some of the other succulents that are winter flowering. Just cut this back there, I can see, if you can see me, that as well. And what I'm going to be doing now is, this is a bit of a time consuming task, so I'm just going to show you with a couple of them and then show you when they're all done. Because you can see here a lot of dead leaves that need to be removed here. So I'm going to be going around with the tweezers, removing them. Here we go, there's my little tweezers. Long handled tweezers are absolutely brilliant for removing dead leaves. And putting them there. And I have made a video on how to remove the dead leaves from echeverias and explain more in that video. But as I say, it's always good to remove the dry leaves if they're not coming away. For example, that one's still, it's sort of going that way, but it's still tough. I leave it until it goes brown and it comes off easy. So I don't want to pull it, because if you do pull them and they're not quite ready to come off, you can leave it a bit of an open wound. At this time of year in the winter, infection can set in, so you have to be very careful. And again, crispy leaves. The good thing is I like about the dehumidifier we have in the polytunnel is it keeps the air dry in here, and it's so much easier with things like removing crispy leaves, because normally without the dehumidifier the leaves will be quite mouldy and damp, and that's awful for this time of year. I'll just turn this plant around. So hopefully you get a few ideas if you've got your plants and you want to do winter jobs. People think there's nothing you can really do in the winter with them, but there's always so much to do. And I just want to apologise if this video footage is a bit grainy, because it is so dark today. But it's still dark because obviously time of year. And yep, a few here. Sometimes it's easier to take individual plants off the table to get to them rather than try and reach, especially when you have a lot of plants. That's it, all nice and tidy now, that echeveria. So now I'm going to be going around all the others, and a bit of a long job, but it's going to be so good to get all the dead leaves off. And with the tweezers you want to go around then and check for any old dead dried up buds that never made it into flowers, such as this here. I just pick them off, because sometimes late in the year they'll start to come back into bud again and they never form because it's too late in the season. But removing all the dead buds that have dried up helps keep the plant nice and clean. Now that's all the dead leaves that I can see all removed off, so looking a bit more tidier now. And the next job I do is I like to go around the plants and check for any signs of pests such as mealybugs. And obviously it's impossible to go through every single plant in this polytunnel to check, so I'm just doing a bit of a quick scan. I do this anyway every week. I come in and check for pests. Thankfully they've been very, very bug clear for the last while, which I'm happy to say, but I will do another check, and if I see any I'm going to pick any off. So a bit of a quick scan around now. And you need to, this is a bit of a time consuming job, because you obviously have to go into every individual plant and have a good look at the top of them all to check there's no signs of beasties. Happy to say I couldn't see any physical signs of pests anyway, but as you know, mealybugs and spider mites tend to hide at this time of year because we keep our polytunnel quite cool in here anyway. A lot of pests sort of hibernate, and in the spring, summer and the fall months I always treat with neem oil. I don't do it in the winter time because unfortunately it's just one of them things that takes a bit of a while to dry, and I like to keep them as dry as possible in the polytunnel. The only plants I still continue to water are my epiphytes, such as my slumbergeras, and the other type of epiphytes as well. I would only really water succulents in here and cacti when they show obvious signs of shriveling. And as I say, I still keep these lightly watered, just enough to stop them from shriveling, because slumbergera and some of the other epiphytes do still continue to grow throughout the winter, as you can see. But with all my other succulents, I do keep them dry. But in January, I'll probably come in here and may give some of the aloes and gasterias and hawortias a wee bit of water, just enough to top them up and stop them shriveling. But I'll make sure I do it on quite a mild day, and we don't have any very cold temperatures forecast and very overcast weather. So that'll be a separate video. Again, I made a couple of videos on how to know when to water cacti and succulents in the winter. Personally, if in doubt, do not, as they say, because you're better off keeping them dry. A cactus would very unlikely die of being underwatered for a few months in the winter time when it wants to rest anyway, but it's very likely to die if you water it in the winter when it's resting, so not going to hurt. As you can see, all these plants are pretty much dormant now, no signs of flowers on all the desert types anyway. They're all having their winter rest at the moment. So now the last job is just giving it all a bit of a tidy up. As I say, I've got my brush and pan here, and I've got my broom. So I'm going to be going around the floor, giving everything a bit of a broom, because dead leaves are always falling off, and I want to make sure that it looks tidy and clean in here. It's more than just aesthetics. If you have a dirty floor and it's your greenhouse or polytunnel or whatever, again, dead leaves absolutely attract pests as well, in my experience. So keeping it as clean as possible, it not only does it look nicer, but it also stops any pests from hiding. Let's use the little brush and pan to get in the places I can't always reach with the broom as well. Now that's it, all done. Plants all removed from dead leaves and checked for bugs and checked for dead flower heads and things like that, and given everywhere good brush and pan as well. So it didn't take me too long, but I sort of keep on top of this every now and then to make sure everything is looking good and staying in ship shape until the springtime. So hope you found that a little bit useful if you know what type of jobs to do with your cacti and succulents in the winter time. And do stay tuned for lots more videos coming up. I'm hoping to do a complete cactus and succulent New Year tour in the Polytunnel, so do stay tuned for that. And if you haven't done already, please do subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you can be notified when I upload new videos. You can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook at Desert Plants of Avalon. And for more growing tips, do check out my website, desertplantsofavalon.com. I want to send you lots of love and happiness and tons of plant power from across the Emerald Isle. And until my next video, bye.